The second batch of episodes of Squid Game The Challenge, we are reunited with a villain from the first batch of episodes, 98, the Brooklyn cop. And in this batch of episodes, he finds out that nobody likes him. In the beginning of the first batch of episodes, there's a test of character, and 3 people are meant to be chosen by the group to be hall monitors. He puts himself forward. Everybody unanimously is basically like, hell nah. He tries to argue in the beginning, and he's basically like, well, I want to be a hall monitor. It's not fair that only a few people are agreeing who should be the hall monitors. It should be a group decision, and I'm included in that group decision. And everybody was like, and the group decision is that we don't want you to be a leader. Even people who were nominated, but like, well, if he's going to be a hall monitor, I'm not doing it. So yeah, he twigged that nobody liked him. He's throwing a tantrum because he doesn't end up being a hall monitor. He's just basically like, bet fuck these people. And you know what? Maybe it was better off that I'm not a hall monitor because there could be a twist. He was right. There was a twist. Being a hall monitor had its privileges. They got fresh sheets and they got a nice breakfast while everybody else was eating gruel. But it came as a double-edged sword because they had to put up 3 people for elimination. And 98, no surprises there, was one of the 3 people that they put up for elimination. There were 2 other guys, can't remember their names, they're a bit irrelevant to be honest. But of course, nothing is ever that easy in the Squid Games. So not only were the people put at risk of elimination, so were the hall monitors. And the task that they were given when they were faced off against each other is that one person in each group has to sacrifice themselves to eliminate everybody else in the other group and save their remaining group. But of course, in this situation, who really wants to sacrifice themselves? And on top of that, if you are forced to sacrifice yourself, what loyalty do you have to the other 2 people who would remain alive? Would you not just be bitter and say, you know what, if I'm forced to sacrifice myself, I'm taking you down with me? Because yeah, if I was forced to sacrifice myself and give up $4 million, I'm taking you guys down with me, especially if I don't like your asses already. Now, of course, we see the 2 groups consulting before any decisions are made. And it looks like the group of the hall monitors are moving quicker. The hall monitors were 327, 410, and 230. And immediately, 327, she's this middle-aged white woman with this son that she keeps banging on about, and she's basically like, I'm not going, my son, I need this money for my son. So 410 is basically like, you know, she's not going, she needs this money for her son, it's between me and you. For 230, another guy. And they decide to do quick fire, rock, paper, scissors. On 98's side, it appears that they're deliberating for a lot longer, and he's just basically like, yeah, we've got to knock them out, we've got to sacrifice ourselves. But he's not offering himself up to be sacrificed, even though he's talking the loudest, talking about, yeah, we've got to win, the other team have to lose, blah, blah, blah. They're deliberating on what game to choose. Conveniently, 98 suggests that they do his game. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, but it's like, you know, matching symbols with hands, and the person who's the odd one out, best to 3, is the one who has to sacrifice themselves. Of course, this is a game that he's good at, so of course he suggested it to guarantee himself a place. One of the guys with 98 suggests that they only do 1 round to make things quick, and 98 and the other guy that's there, I think his number was 417, don't quote me, was like, no, best to 3. I'm not comfortable with it being 1. Again, wasting time. They do it best to 3. The youngest guy in the group ends up losing and he has to sacrifice himself, but he's moving really slow. Not ridiculously slow, but slow enough for me to notice that he's probably stalling. And I think he's got the idea that I would have. Fuck these people, especially 98. I would not want 98 to continue in this game. So if I was the one that was forced to sacrifice myself, I'm definitely I'm taking you down with me. He's taking his sweet time putting his number into the black box. And 98 is like, hurry up. The cheek, I'm sacrificing myself. And you have the cheek to be like, hurry up. I'm now going to even take the piss more. And I think that's what the younger guy ended up doing. He puts it in the box. Immediately, 98 and his group get shot up. And they get eliminated. And 98 was so shocked. He was like, what? He was too slow, horns. Yeah, 98 was annoying and his elimination was very satisfying. We do see an outro from him. He's crying, he's upset, of course. He's lost $4 million. And I think in his heart, he really thought that he could do it. And he's just basically like, you know what? Maybe it's for the best because my $4 million is waiting at home. I mean, anything you can tell yourself to make yourself feel better. But yeah, I'm glad he didn't end up winning the game. But I gotta hear from you guys. Do you think 98 was just keeping it real, or do you feel like his social game just wasn't great? He just didn't really have communication skills. He didn't know how to read the room, and he just doubled down. I think, because he's a cop, he's used to people not liking him. So he's just basically like, well, if you don't like me, fuck you, I'm gonna beat you in the games, and forgetting that there is like a social element to the games as well. And I think maybe he thought that he could talk his way into like ordering people around, like because he's a cop, and people were just like fuck off. And that's why that younger guy took the piss and was like, you know what, if I'm going down, I'm taking you down with me. But you know what, I'll give it to him. He provided great entertainment. It was fun to plot on his demise. I'm gonna hear from you guys. What did you think of 98?